Being very entitled and controlling, narcissists have no difficulty stepping all over your personal boundaries. So that's why I put together an extensive video class called This Is Me. It has 25 videos, written documents, guided questions. I'm going to teach you how to have healthy boundaries. There's a link below, and I hope you'll find it to be quite therapeutic. You know, when you think about the pattern of narcissism, it's kind of hard to wrap your mind around the fact that many people will build their entire personalities around traits like needing to be in control of other individuals, or exploiting and manipulating people, having an attitude of entitlement, or looking down on people consistently, being pathologically defensive, making up their own alternate truth as they go along. But then, to make matters worse, it's so frustrating for you when they really try to get inside your head, they try to get inside your mind and tell you how you're supposed to think, what kind of priorities you ought to have, what kind of opinions you're supposed to lead with. They want to make sure that you conform to their self-serving agenda. I want you to think, how many times have you wasted emotional energy trying to get that person to understand you, and then you just feel like you're just running into a brick wall? How many times have you tried to get them to see the light? You know, whenever you engage with these individuals and you attempt to discuss some of the differences or preferences that you have, then you find yourself thinking it's so baffling that a person would be this closed-minded and this self-centered. They're an enigma. And you might think, why is it that this person is so impossible? You ever had that kind of thinking and reaction? When you continually go back to that kind of thinking and you try to do the reasoning with that narcissist, and obviously you get that kind of reaction, that's when you know that you're in that person's grip. You see, narcissists love to feed off of you arguing with them. They feed off of your frustration. They feed off of your tensions, because you see, it allows them to then go back and rationalize and say to themselves anyway, perhaps to you, see, you are in fact the idiot that I thought you were. And you wind up getting caught in this codependent dance with that person where you're each playing off of one another. And again, you go back thinking this person's impossible. Narcissists can be baffling to you when you attempt to bring a sense of logic to them. Now, what would it be like if we decided, as baffling as they are, maybe we need to turn the tables? You see, you can be predictable to them in the sense that they know they're going to get to you. But what if you decided, I'm not going to play along with that game, and in fact, you may develop a mindset that becomes baffling to them, and I'd like to talk with you about that. You see, one of the things I'm hoping is that you can have an attitudinal adjustment, which then leads toward behavioral adjustments so that you don't get caught in their snares. Now, it's going to baffle them when you go into that place because they're wanting you to do that dance. But let me talk with you about how you may actually be the one who becomes baffling to that self-absorbed narcissist. And it's going to start with one mindset or one strong belief that you would hold on the inside of yourself. And your beginning thought is going to be, I'm going to love myself. I'm going to accept myself with all that goes along with me, my pluses, my minuses, my strengths, my weaknesses, my history of positive characteristics, my histories of sometimes making blunders. I'm going to love and accept myself, because you see, the narcissist wants to make sure that you see only the negatives, and they don't want you to love yourself. Well, I've decided that makes sense to me. Now, we're going to add to that by saying, and then we want to take it a little bit further, and you're going to say, and I'm going to respect myself as well. And when we say I'm going to respect myself, I don't feel the need to get my worth from that other person. I have a sense of dignity that's inborn, and that other individual doesn't have the right to claim my sense of well-being. I'm not going to filter. my way of life through others. I respect my own opinions and my own needs too much to allow that other person to be in charge of me. Taking it a bit further, we're also going to say, and when I formulate my opinions, despite that other person's desire for me not to, I'm going to stick with it. And I'm not going to be wishy-washy in the opinions and the thoughts that I have. You don't have to be dogmatic. You don't have to be overbearing, but it's like, well, I reason well, and I'm going to hold on to my sense of reasoning. The same thing that can go for your sense of priorities and your plans. It's like, I don't feel like I have to filter it through that narcissistic person. Why do I need to have their approval for anything and everything that I think, say, and do? I'm going to stay the course when I have personal priorities that may be different from that other individual. Now, the narcissist may be over there thinking, what's going on? And it can be baffling to them. But you see, that's not my concern anymore. That being understood, we're going to take it a little bit further, and we're going to say, knowing that the narcissist is not going to like me having some independent thinking, I'm going to make room for the fact that that narcissist is going to gripe and complain. Now, the reason I say this is, how many times have you had an emotional reaction to their griping and complaining, and you think, they got to quit doing this? The implication is you're kind of shocked that they're being that way. But wait a minute. What does deep history say? Deep history says they gripe and complain a lot. And I'm just going to quit. I'm going to drop the shock. I'm going to quit complaining about it. And the fact is, that's what they are. I'm not surprised when that happens, and it's going to reflect itself in my way of thinking and reacting. Knowing that then, when I'm accused, because they are going to come back and accuse you of being some sort of subordinate kind of or insubordinate kind of person, I really don't feel the need to defend myself like I have in the past. When you think about it, defending yourself to someone who has zero interest in what you think, say, or do is a really, really large waste of time. And I don't really feel like I need to waste my time or my words or my emotional energy. I'm not doing that anymore. Instead, when that person accuses or gripes and complains, what I'm going to do is I'm going to offer simple, self-affirming comments. For example, I might say something like, I know that I don't make sense to you, but I make sense to me, and I'm going to let that be. Or you might even go with something even simpler. When they complain or accuse, you might just simply say, that's the decision I've made. And what we're going to do is we're just going to keep it simple. You don't have to be wordy. You don't have to go into all sorts of justification. No, being me is quite enough. Going back to the fact that I love who I am. I accept me for what I am. I respect myself. And if they can't figure that out, then that's going to be baffling to them. So be it. Now, taking it a little bit further, I'm also going to turn down their, quote, invitations to argue or gripe in reverse. I know that when I do, my words are going to fall on deaf ears anyway. So when that person is in an argumentative mode, if I need to, I can simply say no when necessary. I can continue to prioritize those separate plans and activities and my relationship connections, and I'm going to follow through with initiatives relative to that. I'm going to anticipate the narcissist's anger because I know that that's what they do. And when the narcissist comes at me with a whole lot of anger, instead of me responding in kind, I'm going to choose detachment. I've gotten pulled in way too many times to the agitation and irritability. You know what? I'm not going to do that anymore. Instead, I'm going to remind myself on the inside that contempt and irritability and hatred is always an option. But that's an option I just don't want to choose. I don't want to be tethered to that person through those kind of negative emotions. So that being the case, you're going to just stay bland when that person comes at you with their baffling kinds of demands. I'm going to trust my gut, and my inner voice is going to say, this is nuts. And my task is to figure out what the not nuts style of reaction and response is going to be. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to take a pass on having to plead my case and having to make that person understand. And instead, I'm just going to have no salesmanship and no insistence in the way that I engage with that person. Can you flow with me on this mindset? Now, the narcissist is going to feel baffled when you take this, what I call delicate detachment approach, and they're going to be thinking, what's wrong with you anyway? Which is one of the dumbest questions that a human being can ask, because when people ask that question, they're not seeking information, and whatever response they're going to get is not going to be a good response. But if they think, well, what's wrong with you anyway? My response, at least inwardly, is going to be, well, I'm operating under the assumption that you're not going to agree with what I would have to say to that question, nor would you have any desire to understand what's going on inside of me. So I'm going to take a pass on that too. You see, my bottom line is this. Narcissists don't think normally. And when it becomes clear that you are other to them, you know what we can think and say on this? I'm going to take that as a compliment, and I'm going to continue to move forward. That's going to baffle the narcissist, but I'm hoping what it does is it reflects your inner sense of well-being. That's something they don't know a lot about, but I'm hoping that's something that can be central to who you are. Now, I hope that videos such as this can give you some good awareness and insight about who these people are that you're engaging with and how you can respond most constructively. If you've not already hit that subscribe button, I would encourage you to do so. We're going to keep more videos coming toward you. I hope that you can watch them in a cumulative kind of way so that the education can be full and thorough. If you have a need for therapy, and I know that many of you, when you're dealing with this kind of thing, could use someone that could help you sift this out. You know, I've been sponsored for years now by the people at BetterHelp.com. There's a link below that will take you to their website. You can get a 10% discount if you go through the link. There's simple forms that you can fill out, and then there's a whole team of licensed professional therapists that you could select from. In addition, I also have my therapeutic courses, and this is like signing up for an online class. They're very extensive. Each one has multiple videos with written documents and guided questions. And so I would encourage you to look into those. We have Ready, Set, Connect about making good connection skills. This is me about establishing your boundaries, free to be, finding yourself despite the controllers. We also have my webinars that have been presented, but you can still go back and purchase them. We have my podcast. We have our website with lots of articles. We have our books, lots of resources. And please know I truly appreciate you letting me be on the journey with you. Narcissists may baffle you, but when you have this internal sense of steadiness, that can baffle them because you're not feeding what they're wanting you to give them. But that's their issue to have to come to terms with. In the meantime, I hope that as you have this inner sense of steadiness and self-love and self-respect, I hope that it positions you to be a person of dignity, respect, and civility. That's what we do here on Team Healthy. And in the end, it leads you to your place of peace.